Here is the 2024 Hyundai Elantra inline in Atlas white over black and black interior. We not only get a refresh, but we're going to get more performance slotting just under the limited trim. Not going to be the full-blown in that will give us 75 horsepower more, but this is going to change out the powertrain to make it unique to its class. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over the pros and cons, the problem that I have with the inline and comparable rivals. Starting in the front, projected LED headlights, daytime runnings that run into the satin aluminum. The grille and the lower bumper is all unique to the inline, so it's going to look a lot more dramatic, and yet you're getting better clearance than the SE, SEL, and Limited. Those are at 5.3 inches. This is at 5.5 inches. So when you're thinking, well, I don't want to go to a sports car look because I'm going to lose clearance, that's not the case here. And they're changing out that 2.0 liter inline four-cylinder that has 50-ish horsepower less, 60 pound-feet of torque less, because now we got the 1.6 liter GDI turbocharged inline four-cylinder that produces 201 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque, and we're not getting that CVT transmission, or the IVT is what Hyundai calls it. We're getting a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, which is going to make the shifts a little bit more sporty. And we're still receiving 28 mpgs for the city, 35 mpgs for the highway. The inline also gives some more aesthetics because we're getting these 18-inch black alloy wheels. When you go into the SE, that's the base trim, you're talking a 15-inch wheel. The SEL, you'll go to 16. You can option a 17 when you get into the Limited and add in convenience package. The side skirt's going to flare out with the gloss black, the side view mirror cap, inline badging, and all the trim around the windows is gloss black, and you're going to get that sporty pattern in the rear. Another change is the suspension layout. It's going to be standard McPherson strut front suspension across the board. But on the back, no torsion beam, we're getting a multi-link independent rear suspension. So when you're thinking competition, this doesn't have a CVT transmission. So if you are thinking about Toyota or Honda, this is going to tick the box for you because you don't have to worry about that. Plus, the layout to the suspension alone is going to be a little bit more athletic, even if you're thinking Mazda, because they got a torsion beam in the rear. Now, it's not going to be like the in that gets the electronically controlled front and rear suspension layout, but I'm not expecting that. But then when I'm thinking pricing, for about $3-4 grand more, I could get a base trim. So it is something to take in consideration. Another change is the front rotors are going to be an inch more in diameter than the SE, SEL in Limited trim. When you go into the in, it's over 2 inches more. And the rear is going to be bigger as well. Trunk lid spoiler gets the gloss black. LED taillights, you get the H design. The lower gets the satin aluminum that's going to brush into the diffuser. You get a dual exhaust outlet. I wish it was separated, but then when I'm thinking the in, I kind of understand why they went a little understated, but still gave a performance touch. But the problem comes into place is for $3-4 grand more, you can option the in, which is going to have a completely different suspension because it's going to be more sporty, more powerful engine because 75 horsepower more. It's going to have a manual transmission as standard. You can option the 8-speed dual wet clutch automatic transmission, or you can get this because maybe it's too much power, but for me, I would probably go that extra step because you're getting the active exhaust note, and when you're thinking about everybody in its class, it's going to outperform them and you're going to have savings. Quick release going into 14.2 cubic feet. It does sit up a little bit, and you got these storage bins that are removable, and you get Velcro straps. So I like that because you can maneuver them all around. You have it on both sides. Here's the inline floor mats for the Elantra. Underneath the floor, it's going to get that spare tire. And you can split fold the rear bench in the back by pulling these two levers here, and that will increase the cargo capacity. You will have about 2 to 3 inches of a hump there. This is the inline. Let's go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. Ten-way power seat adjustment, heated front seat, 6-way manual seat adjustment for the passenger. This is a H-Tech design with the cloth inserts in badging. When you go up to the Limited, it will be the H-Tech leatherette. Underneath this will be a cloth seat upholstery for the SE and the SEL. Headroom and leg room. Because this is the inline, we get the sport pedals, driver focus setup, inline with the perforated on the gear lever. The dashboard is going to be sporty And it has a Curve 1 panel with two 10.25 screens. One will have the navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, Sirius XM and HD radio. Quiet mode will be standard in all trims, as well as Blue Link. Put it into reverse and we get a reverse camera with trajectory that expands out. When you click here, you can change the layout of the camera, which I don't know why you would tow. You could just have it this way. Dual climate control settings. Standard is a climate control. Heated seats can be optioned when you go into the convenience on the SEL with a 12 volt, 2 USB ports. That is standard. Wireless charging pad is standard here. Optional when you get convenience package, when you go to the convenience package SEL. The key fob for the new Elantra. This is pretty cool because you can remove this, so it can be either deeper or less in space. I kind of wish that this had the H-Tech leatherette similar to the gear lever. This is pushed back. It's medium size and it's going to be more sporty. Leather wrap steering wheel. It's perforated. Now you can get the leather wrap on the SEL with the convenience package. Multi-function. The paddle shifts will be on this trim. And the 10.25 gauge cluster can go through an array of information for the driver, including the turn-by-turn navigation. And when you go into setup here on the gauge cluster, you can change the screen layout here. And you have a few different ways of altering that. I kind of like the sport. And the driver mode select is right here, which makes it a lot more sporty. When you push it, you got sport mode, smart, and normal. Auto dimming rear view mirror and a moonroof that you can get with convenience package on the SEL. The door is going to get the contrast stitching in red with the tweeter here. It's going to be more of the everyday or easy to clean materials. One touch up and down only for the front driver window. It's going to be more sporty here with a long storage pocket. For the back seats headroom and leg room, gonna have plenty of space inside the Elantra. 2 USB ports is standard, cup holders with armrests, and the seat design comes into the back. But the door panel will strip out that contrast stitching that should be through here, and it's kind of harder materials here with a smaller storage pocket. You can fit a smaller phone here in the grab handle area. Sliding into the center, the floor isn't flat, the rails are pushed up, so feet space is not an issue, nor is butt, leg, or shoulder space, because believe it or not, the seats contour pretty good, but it does sit upright, in which headroom starts becoming a little bit closer, but it's still doable at 6'3". 201 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. Now, I understand this is not the N, and we're not getting 276 horsepower, nor are we getting the 94 pound-feet of torque more than this. So you can just tell right there that stepping into the inline opposed to the S, SEL, and Limited is going to be night and day difference. But stepping from this to the N is going to be another difference. So I like that they give you those 2 or 3 different tier structures, because maybe this is enough performance for you. Turn radius to start off with is going to be actually a lot more tight than this, probably about 1.5 lanes. Let's rock and roll. The exhaust note will filter in, but it will do the same on all of the trims. It's going to sound a little bit more unique when you go into the N. Road noise is going to be a lot more so. The ride is actually a lot more smooth, and a lot of that is derived because of the independent multi-link rear suspension setup that we have gained. So if you are considering to go into the inline, that gets electronically controlled front and rear dampers, which will make it a little bit more athletic, but it can also be a little bit more smooth on a long journey. It's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is how they have configured the new Elantra, because you're not only getting performance variants, and you get 2 different tiers of them, but you get the everyday, plus you have hybrid, so they take care of everybody when you're thinking of anybody in class like Honda and Toyota. And when you do the comparison between them, this is going to be better, especially when you option the inline because of the suspension layout, not getting that CVT transmission, and you have more room in the back seats than the Toyota. Now, Honda is going to have more leg space than here, and they also option a hatchback, which this has that design. Kind of wish that they just executed a hatchback as well, because it would give more space, and you still have that design that's in the Elantra. As for some cons, I'm not a huge fan of driver focus setup because this is not that type of car. Even if you go into a Corvette, and I understand that doesn't compete with this at all, but why do you put these walls here? Because it's not only an eyesore, but think in the passenger side, or if someone's driving you in your Elantra, you're gonna feel a little claustrophobic. Now you can run wires through the grab handle area, but who wants to do that? Just take the wall out. The seats, they're comfortable, but they're just not that long for the butt area. And when you go to the inline, I wish that they gave you cushion extensions. And when you're thinking the seat texture, I'm not a huge fan of the cloth either. I would rather see the H-Tech leatherette throughout and keep that unique design. I'm fine with that. And comparing this against the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder, this isn't gonna really have any lag at all. Even though it's turbocharged, you can just push it. This is normal and it's just ready to go. It sits at a little bit of a higher RPM typically whenever you're driving on certain speeds, so therefore it's already spooled up, giving you more performance for the drive. And that takes me to the problem with the inline. The value that it's at, $3,000 more, you can get a true in. You're talking 289 pound-feet of torque. The powertrain's better, the suspension layout's gonna be more sporty, you're getting larger wheels, you're getting larger brakes, a lot more value is there. So when I'm thinking it's great for the price that it's at, but then they've priced the in so close to this, it's a little bit more attractive to me. But when you're thinking competitors, this is hands down going to be better than Toyota and Honda, because both of those variants, you're gonna be spending at least $4,000 or $5,000 to near $10,000 more to get something comparable to this. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Gettle Hyundai of Lakewood for giving us this 2024 Hyundai Elantra inline for our car review.